because I'm just so pure. Pure heart, that's me. Just now realized the camera is over here. Great. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Dan with 6bstyle, and today we're talking about one of my favorite rooms in my apartment, the living room. Let's see where we started first. Renter beige walls, a tired futon, and no real design direction. It stayed like this more or less for years, mainly because I was living above my means alone in Manhattan and, choices. Thankfully, things worked out eventually, and I was able to make a very blank slate home. Alright, so let's get started with the tour. We will start with the artwork first. Up top, we have the portrait of my mom here. I did this right out of college. And then over here, so this is kind of very typical of a lot of the artwork that I did right when I graduated and in part of when I was at school. So you have the lips from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the Christ figure from Michelangelo's Pietà, and the Louis Vuitton monogram kind of on top of that. So this was how I started with the room, and I chose the furniture from there. So first up, the couch. It's a velvet blue little number. This is from Target.com. It's very typical that you can't find their furniture pieces in their store. This is also from Target. You will find that this is from Target is a phrase I will repeat a lot in this tour because I am basic. These here, I think they came from Overstock.com. I will link everything, down below. So, and then in other furniture items, we have my side tables here. So these are vintage. They were a gift to my mom from her great aunt. And so I love those. I've had those for a long time. Here in the center, so I was having a really hard time finding a coffee table situation that wasn't too big and little on the smaller side. So what I did was I was at, you guessed it, Target. And I found this drum here, and I also saw that tray, and I just put them on top of each other, and that's all she wrote. So this is really indicative of sort of what I like to do. I like to layer a lot of things. So you have sort of the table, as it were, and then you take a step down and you have an ottoman, take another step down and you have a candle inside a lantern. So, and then of course the pieces themselves are layered with things, candles and etc. So over here, the lamp, that is from Target. I have on the side table, let's see, that's my parents in the front, my grandfather, which would be my mom's father to the right, and then my aunt, so my dad's sister there in the back. Love that photo, so sassy. And then I have pictures of my friends here. In the back there, that is Jonathan Adler for H&M. My little monk, love him. I have another one of those. I got those from Home Goods. And I am obsessed with like candle holders, so I absolutely love that one. That's also from H&M. And then over here in this window, we have a stained glass house that my grandfather made. I come from a family of craftsmen. We're all creative gents, so that brings us to actually the stained glass piece that are hanging in the windows there. So that one there I got from his house after he passed. And then the one over here, focus, there you go, that he actually gave to me, and I've had that since I was a kid. So anyway, back over here, the portraits and everything, these are all relatives that were from my mom's side of the family. And then here, some more portraits. That's in the front, my mom and my grandfather at Christmas. And then actually that is my parents at prom. They were high school sweethearts. Oh, gag me. Anyway, I'm kidding. True love is real. And those are my grandparents there on my dad's side. Oh, and also this little chess piece was a wonderful gift from my cousin. She had it in her retail shop, and I loved it, and she gave it to me, and yeah, so. Then up here, again, this is very typical of how I arrange things. I group things in fours, though typically you like to group things in threes, but it just worked out. I think it's just because I have too much crap, to be perfectly frank with you. So this little boat here is from Greece. Another little monkey, a piece of crystal that was my grandparents', that I have a little discarded eucalyptus in there, and that limestone ball is from CB2. Love that. And then on the other side, again, more family portraits, and that vase is from H&M Home. And yeah, so let's see, what else? Yeah, the last little point is my lamp there. Again, Target, can't go wrong. And then, of course, to finish it off, we have the hanging florals. So there we are, beautifully in focus. So yeah, that is it. That is the living room. And let's get to the rest of the video. Right, so, you know, let's get a little comfortable. Hold on. Oh, it hurts. Jesus, I am only 34. I should not hurt this much. Okay. So, you know, my living room is a very important space for me. It's where I entertain. My apartment is a completely open plan. So the living room is open to the dining room, is open to the office, is open to the kitchen, is open to the foyer. So it was important for me that the decisions I made here really grounded the apartment as a whole. So for me, having spaces that they need to talk to each other, but I don't want them to coordinate or anything like that, which is very much how I design anything. That's how I put an outfit together. Like I want, you know, there to be echoes of the same kind of idea, but you don't want to be matchy-matchy. AKA your tie never matches your pocket square. So those are always really important to consider. And I think that my apartment as a whole really kind of pulled all of that together, which, yeah, I'll put that as a win. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Right, so how did I start my living room? So I started with the artwork, because they're all my artwork. So I wanted to make sure that whatever I did, it complemented the art on the wall. And I really wanted the art to pop and to make sure that it stood out really well against whatever color I painted or anything like that. So obviously the first choice would be white. But that's not really always my first choice. I like kitchens and I like bathrooms white because it says to me cleanliness, and also when it's not clean you can see, and that means you know. So with the paintings, I wanted a wall color that was going to make the paintings pop. I also wanted something that was just a mood, like an absolute just kind of dark and somewhat masculine, because I wanted to have a really kind of masculine base because I love juxtaposing that on really feminine elements like florals and that kind of stuff. Florals being in pillows or just actual flower arrangements and that kind of thing. So I love that juxtaposition, and so that's what I really wanted to do. Something that I think really identifies that is my end tables with my couch. My couch, nice and modern, beautiful, like gold accents, add a little bit of glam to it. It's in a velvet, which is kind of, in my opinion, a vintage fabric. So again, you're mixing modern, you're mixing vintage, and then you juxtapose that against some end tables that are clearly antiques. And I just think that's a really beautiful combination, and it's interesting. You know, if your apartment looks like a catalog, what does that say about you? You know what I'm saying? So I think that your space really needs to say something about you, and to say that my space is eclectic, therefore I am eclectic, is somewhat of an understatement, to be frank with you. I think it's incredibly important that your space is reflective of who you are as a person, just like how I think your clothes need to reflect who you are as a person, but also it needs to have an element of fantasy, an element of what we want out of life, you know? So I always say, live your fantasy, and quite frankly, I'm doing it. Like, it's just... And that fantastical element really plays into the idea of a romantic design aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? With all of these kind of fanciful elements, you can really just sort of get lost. So I want a space that has sort of a feeling, a visceral reaction that is warranted by the people in the space. So I love large florals and big prints and bold colors. And again, I'll reference the artwork because the art that I feature in my space is actually rather large, especially for a space that's not very big. You know, having a 3x6 painting in essentially what would be 300 maybe square feet, you know, of a room is a little ostentatious. But if anything, I'm ostentatious, so. Reviewing all this footage has really given me some clarity in my general design philosophy, and I really appreciate that. I have filled my home with things that are special to me, and I find the beauty in every piece. I suggest you find the meaning in all of the things you not only surround yourself with, but also wear on your back and think in your head. We are currently in uncertain times, and making the most out of everything is certainly important. Fill your minds and spaces with wonder and joy and a touch of whimsy and fantasy. Thank you for joining me today. I hope it was somewhat informative. If anything, it gave you an insight into what goes on in my mind. And yeah, if you like what you saw, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I release videos every Wednesday. So I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great one, and be safe out there, guys. Bye now. Thank you, me. Thank you, me. Yeah, thank you, me. Hang on, thank you, me. Thank you so much. You're so nice. Oh my goodness. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine.